you're anything like the lone wolf or the lion out there that's just roaming and doing your own thing, then these people are going to see you different. You're going to automatically be seen as different. And that's good. You need to be seen that way. Because in order to make a difference, you got to be different. In order to bring a difference to the energetic vibration, you have to have a different energy that, how can I say this, that is executed from the physical form of the vessel. That would represent the spirit that's behind the vessel of your body. See, a lot of these things, these individuals may not know, they may be aware of it, but they possibly never got that deep to see what's really going on within themselves. But this is a video to inspire the ones out there that are alone. And to these individuals that may be being fed a lot of compliments on the media, and yet you still feel a sense of loneliness, it's because your soul is trying to tell you something. The media is not where it's at. Having all these individuals compliment you, that's not where it's at. A compliment is incredibly easy. Typing out a compliment or whatever it may be, that's incredibly easy to do. That's not a challenge. The challenge is, are people ready to put themselves under judgment? That's where it becomes critical. As a Scorpio man, I can speak because when it comes to us, bro, like we're very, 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 people always wanted the mystery of that intensity. I'm going to tell you why we have that heavy, strong presence whenever we enter a room. Because we put ourselves under judgment numerous amount of times. We don't sit there and point fingers or sit there and complain about something. We take action and we get things done by ourselves. If you're a Phoenix Evolved Scorpio out there, this may be resonating with one of y'all situations too. So shout out to my Scorps. If you're a Phoenix Evolved Scorpio out there and you rose, how can I say this? You rise to the Phoenix stage, then this is going to resonate with you. A lot of individuals are not going to be able to handle your intensity or your power. They may claim that you're too intense.
I will post it. Don't think I won't.
But some of you out there that have a very intense,
pistol whip,
high vibrational energy, you may notice how these compliments come out of nowhere.
Doesn't mean I'm asleep.
You're too passionate. They're too in the ego.
He will,
to see what's
because I'll stay up.
Your intensity.
Save up to 50% on a hot tub or swim spa at the Hot Tub and Swim Spa Blowout Expo this weekend at the Vermilion County Fairgrounds. Browse a massive display of hot tubs and swim spas. See swim spas in action offering exercise, therapy, and fun all year long. Over 20 spas will be on display from 5 major brands at huge discounts. Immediate delivery is available and show admission is free. That's the Hot Tub and Swim Spa Blowout Expo this weekend at the Vermilion County Fairgrounds in Oakwood. Visit hottubshow.com. That's hottubshow.com.
Happy kids are successful kids. When you choose a tuition-free K-12-powered online school, you join more than 2 million happy kids empowered to take their learning into their own hands. And you get the satisfaction of seeing them thrive from the safety of home. Hands-on, interactive learning at their own pace in their happy place. Happier at K-12.
You don't have to feed into that energy, because that's just their perception of what they're not truly seeing with this eye. They're observing with the physical observers. Because these right here, my personal belief on the eyes, they're only observers. They only look around and observe. They can't truly break down and analyze the energy beyond what's really going on, like this one can. Because in reality, this is your first eye, which is the connection to God. Why do you think they call it Christ consciousness? There's a reason why the third eye is in the Bible. There's a reason why people want to say it's this, it's that. But if you really judge yourself and spiritually ascend and obey the higher power, you're going to have a clean vessel. You're going to have a clean energy. You're not going to be all the way perfect, but you're going to be living in a very, very, very high vibrational, high morality type of energy. That's what's going to happen. You're gonna become more high vibration. You're gonna have days, times where the energy is gonna fluctuate like that, but overall, you're gonna be living through your soul. You're gonna have the proper balance between the ego and the soul. And that right there is going to be acknowledged immediately. A lot of you out there may be going through some type of transitional period right now, which is why I said that you may be feeling weird about being alone. And the messages are starting to come through to me right now. It's just taking a little bit because of this retrograde. This is kind of slowing the energy down a little bit. And they had another reader that talked about that, about the Venus retrograde. That's going to kind of affect the energy a little bit. But at the same time, I'm going to keep flowing. Because when Spirit guides me to make a video, when Spirit guides me to do something, I'm going to do it more so when God guides me to speak up about something, I'm going to speak up about it. Because I'm in control of my destiny. He put me in control of my destiny. And he wants me to stay my purpose.
You hear the noises? You'll hear noises in my house.
But anyway, to the ones out there that are wondering about deeper information when it comes to you being alone, you really want to know the real reason why you're alone? It's not to be acknowledged from all these individuals that's really not seeing you for who you really are. Because they don't see you. You may think that they see you. They see the illusion. They only see what these are observing from their perception. A spiritual person will literally be behind the scenes analyzing and seeing what's really going on because they've already been through that situation, which will give them the wisdom from experience. The main reason why you're alone is to learn to love yourself, not to fake love, but to learn to actually feel on the inside. That way you can attract somebody that's healthy. See, people can look healthy on the outer exterior. They could look all this and talk sweet and do all that. But is that really what's going on the inside? That right there will be judgment. That's where judgment will come in at, to where the individual can put themselves under judgment. And it's not an easy process, but it's something that needs to be done. You ever heard that saying, only God could judge you? And if you combine both of these together, it will link it straight to that is the truth. If God is the only one that can judge you, why does God speak through to you sometimes? If you ever looked at yourself in the mirror and you judge yourself, that's God speaking through you. Sometimes he will come across, he will send his energy and get your attention through another vessel out there. Because his presence is too intense and too purified to actually reveal himself like that. He knows the soul possibly can't handle it because it's just too high vibrational. So when it comes to you getting a message and you feeling like it's in sync with some type of answer that you've been looking for, and yet you feel fulfilled on the inside,
Those dots show up
that
on
right
camera.
there is a confirmation that the message was meant to be heard. That was the message for you. If you feel calm on the inside, you don't feel like this rush of anxiety or rush of doubt, that means that the message was made for you. It was made for your soul to hear because, believe it or not, when you spiritually awaken, you're not only going to be listening to words, you're going to be listening to the meaning beyond the words and the frequency of how something is spoken. Because just like I said before, anybody can tell you that you look good. Anybody can tell you they're proud of you. Anybody can tell you that they're happy for you. The words are just words, but what about the vibration beyond those words? What about the energy that's coming from the vessel that's speaking that? And I'm not saying everybody out there is going to be a hater or be jealous of you. But if you ever pay attention, bro, to these past people that you may have been around and they told you something like that, if I remember right, didn't some of you out there find out it was backstabbing? It's right there being presented right there in front of your face. Because you was alone even back then, you just didn't know it. You felt like you was around people, like you felt like you wasn't alone, but yet you really was. Because I wasn't your people to start with. Some of you out there may have exes that you disconnected from, that you no longer resonate with. There's a reason why you're not together with them anymore. There's a reason why people are moving on with their life out there. They're with somebody else. There's a reason for that. Now, sometimes exes do come back and y'all get involved and yet y'all work things out and stuff like that. That sometimes does work out. But when it comes to some of you out there that are questioning everything, you're in the spot right now to where you're alone. I'm here to help you understand why you're alone. And it's because to learn what's really going on around you, to be aware of your surroundings, to be aware of your energy, to be aware of your frequency, to be aware of what's really going on around you, which will represent your surroundings. Because there's not nothing wrong with you. It's something wrong with the environment that you've been sitting in, that you've been in. There's something wrong with the environment that you've been in. And it's time for you to leave that environment. It's time for you to step out of that environment. If you've been around people that you feel are just, you feel drained around certain individuals, you feel drained, you feel tired, you feel irritated, that your soul fighting against it because it don't want to be there. You're around an energetic vampire. I'm telling you, but they got literally energetic vampires out there that would love to suck the life force from your energy just by being around. Do you really want to be around toxicity like that? You don't deserve to be around that, because if you treat yourself with enough respect and you start setting boundaries, you're not going to put up with that. Because that's where it's at. It's like I said earlier, anybody can take care of their physical vessel, but there must be a balance between a 50 and a 50, between the soul and the vessel. And how you nurture your soul is you start paying attention to what's really going on the soul level. Stop worrying about, you're going to be alone if you're around nobody. That's when you're around the most. Whenever you're alone, you're around the most in the spirit world, because you have time to connect to the heavenly angels. If you believe in the heavenly realm, you believe in the spirit realm, that's when you have the time to connect to God. God don't want you around these other individuals. He's not going to have you alone forever, but he just don't want you around certain energy. He don't want you around certain atmospheres that is toxic for your soul. And he wants to see if you have enough strength and courage and enough willpower to obey the higher calling, to remove yourself in a state from those type of environments. He wants to see how much strength you really have, because he already knows. He just wants to see how much strength and power you really have to distance yourself and to remove yourself out of those type of situations. Now, when it comes to experiencing what they call spiritual depression, and some of you out there may be going through a form of spiritual depression, it's because the ego is being challenged. The ego is being challenged, and it's not used to this type of ascension. It's not used to that energy. It's not used to that shift that's going on, that's taking place. It's not used to that. The soul and the ego are two complete different energies. What the ego perceives, the soul perceives a lot deeper and at a more expanded level. And just like I said before, if you're somebody that's alone, you don't have a girlfriend, you don't have a boyfriend, you don't have a husband, you don't have a wife, there's a reason for that. And for some of you out there that's already evolved, that's already went through some type of false twin flame, whatever it is, you learned a lot of life lessons from being in a connection that you thought was going to last forever, and yet that changed you. That was to wake you up to your truest and highest potential of somebody that's actually accurate and made for you. the time will manifest physically. That will manifest physically. But at the same time, you can't just have your mind on all that. But some of y'all out there don't even have your mind on that. I can tune into the energy and tell. To those out there that really did the work, the inner work on the inside, you're not focused on that. You may have waves of nostalgia